Shakespeare. It has been a while. I've been doing a lot of flying, and I took off last week because I took my written test, and it's done, and I got 100, and I'm very excited. But now I have to learn to land the thing. So we're going to decompress with some Shakespeare. All right, let me make sure everything's working, and we'll continue. Okay, now I have to do that thing and that thing. Where is it? Nope, not that. This thing. Ah! Oh no. Come on. The book's not coming up. Come on. No. That one. Perfect. Excellent. Da da da. All right. And yes, I think I got all of my technical things worked out. I hope. No, I shouldn't have said that. Knock on wood. Oh gosh. Jinxing myself. And again, it's been a while, so we'll see how this goes. The first 18 sonnets were, well, the first 17 were supposed to be the procreation sonnets. And then the 18 was the famous Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer's Day, which was a lot of fun. I was really excited about it because I had learned it before. And it actually turned out to be somewhat, I think, tied in with the procreation theme as well. So I don't know how the rest is going to go. I see blood, so we shall see. So this is Shakespeare's sonnet number 19. Devouring time, blunt thou the lion's paws, and make the earth devour her own sweet brood. Pluck the keen teeth from the fierce tiger's jaws, and burn the long-lived phoenix in her blood. Make glad and sorry seasons as thou fleetest, and do whate'er thou wilt, swift-footed time, to the wide world and all her fading sweets. But I forbid thee one most heinous crime. O carve not with thy hours my love's fair brow, nor draw no lines there with thine antique pen. Him in thy course untainted do allow, for beauty's pattern to succeeding men. Yet do thy worst, old time, despite thy wrong. My love shall in my verse ever live young. Okay, so devouring time, time devours, blunts the lion's paws, makes the earth devour her own sweet brood, what she has herself created. Pluck the keen teeth from the fierce tiger's jaws, he becomes gummy, and burn the long-lived phoenix in her blood, because the phoenix continues to reincarnate and eventually, blah, I guess. Make glad and sorry seasons as thou fleetest. Make the seasons fleeting as thou art, and do what you will, swift-footed time, very fast time, to the whole wide world, and everything else sweet that fades. But you are not allowed to do this one thing. Do not wrinkle my love's fair brow, wrinkles, nor draw lines there with thine antique pen, haha, writing. Him in thy course untainted do allow, yes, let my love be unmarked, for beauty's pattern. Oh, wait, hang on. Him in thy course untainted do allow, for beauty's pattern to succeeding men. I feel like that is also the whole procreational thing, the passing on the beauty of the self through the offspring, which is, I was thinking this was very interesting reading all of these in order and together, because it does give that background and context that kind of makes it easier to analyze, I think. So, and then, yet do thy worst, old time. Yet even if you do your worst, despite, oh, yes. Yet if you do your worst, despite that wrong that you do, my love shall in this verse ever live young. So, even though you may wrinkle and kill my love, in the verse, still lives. Boom! Nailed it. All right. Number 20. And I think that might be where it's kind of going, because in the Shall We Compare Thee, well, and I guess in the one before that too, it starts talking about not just in the children, and then maybe, okay, so not just in the children, but also in the verse that the love lives on, or the beauty of the love lives on. I mean, there could at some point, well, I'm sure there is, the creations, the poems, the sonnets, etc., are analogous with children as well. I don't know, we shall see. Number 20. A woman's face with nature's own hand painted, hast thou, the master mistress of my passion, a woman's gentle heart, but not acquainted with shifting change, as in false women's fashion, an eye more bright than theirs, less false in rolling, gilding the object whereupon it gazeth, a man in hue, all hues in his controlling, which steals men's eyes and women's souls amazeth. And for a woman wert thou first created, till nature, as she wrought thee, fell a doting, and by addition me of thee defeated, by adding one thing to my purpose nothing. But since she pricked thee out for woman's pleasure, mine be thy love, and thy love's use their treasure. I'm going to apologize right away. I was getting distracted. It's thundering right now. I don't know if you can hear it, but we'll see how this analysis goes. A woman's face, okay, with nature's own hand painted, no false painting, hast thou, the master mistress of my passion. So, you have a woman's face, you master mistress of my passion. A woman's gentle heart, but not acquainted with shifting change, as in false women's fashion. So the changeableness of women as well as trendy fashions. An eye more bright than theirs, okay, all right, less false in rolling, gilding the object whereupon it gazeth. So upon which my love looks, it gilds it. It makes it better in the observation. A man in hue, all hues in his controlling. A man in hue, all hues in his controlling, which steals men's eyes and women's souls amazeth. So very socially attractive as well as physically, I assume. And for a woman wert thou first created, till nature, as she wrought thee, fell a doting, and by addition me of thee defeated. Me of thee defeated. By adding one thing to my purpose, nothing. Till nature, as she wrought thee, fell a doting, and by addition of me, and by addition me of thee. Okay, hang on. And for a woman wert thou first created, by woman, till nature, as she made thee, fell a doting, and by addition me of thee defeated, by adding one thing to my purpose nothing. Okay, hang on. But since she pricked thee out for woman's pleasure, mine be thy love, and thy loves use their treasure. Interesting. There's some bits that I can't figure out in that bit. Prick thee out for woman's pleasure, mine be thy love, and thy loves use their treasure. Yeah, so it is. It's like the author talking of. So I feel like it's very, very bromancy to say it in that way. And I don't think that all love needs to be, carnal, if you will. And I think I don't know if it was different back then, and I'm sure I'll have historical arguments. But even, I guess I wouldn't be able to say then compared to now, but it almost seems like it was more likely that men could be more affectionate with each other without it being considered the opposite. And even, I would say even women too. Not that it's a bad thing either way, but where has just platonic love, affection, like there isn't a need in love itself for that end, if that makes sense. So maybe it's the one way, maybe it's the other. I don't know. Someone else could, I would say not tell me, but could argue either way. So we'll move on to 21. So it is not with me as with that muse, stirred by a painted beauty to his verse, who heaven itself for ornament doth use, and every fair with his fair doth rehearse. Hello, how's it going? It has been a while. I'll actually start 21 over. I just started it, so I will start that over. But hello, how's it going? I hope it's going well. I'll actually take a drink quick. I've been doing a lot of flying stuff, but I am very happy to be back with Shakespeare. And yes, so we've only just begun. We're on 21. So I guess I'll just begin. So it is not with me as with that muse, stirred by a painted beauty to his verse, who heaven itself for ornament doth use, and every fair with his fair doth rehearse, making a couplement of proud compare, with sun and moon, with earth and sea's rich gems, with April's firstborn flowers, and all things rare that heaven's air in this huge rondure hems. Oh, let me true in love, but truly right, and then believe me, my love is as fair as any mother's child, though not so bright as those gold candles fixed in heaven's air. Let them say more that like of hearsay well, I will not praise, that purpose not to sell. So I want to go right away to rondure. I feel like I have heard the word before, but it's been a while, and I love it, and I need it. Rondure. So I assume it has something to do with like rond, like round, like globe, or like that sort of a thing. Rondure, gracefully rounded curvature. So the dome, the sky, perhaps. So we shall see. So it is not with me as with that muse, as with another muse, stirred by a painted beauty to his verse. Ooh. So that, I don't know specifically what it is, but it seems as if he's talking about a poet speaking of a portrait. Is there just a poem, The Painted Lady? I don't know. So that would be. So it is with that muse stirred by a portrait of beauty to his verse, who heaven itself for ornament doth use, and every fair with his fair doth rehearse. Okay, who heaven itself for ornament doth use. So heaven itself uses. I'm assuming it's talking about the subject of the poem. For ornament doth use, and every fair with his fair, doth rehearse. Oh, so every other fair thing with the subject's fairness rehearses its own fairness. Aha. Making a couplement of proud compare, with sun and moon, with earth and sea's rich gems, with April's firstborn flowers, and all things rare that heaven's air in this huge rondure hems. So comparison to all things beautiful and wonderful and lovely. Oh, let me, true in love, but truly right, and then believe me, my love is as fair as any mother's child. So I am writing truly, and my love is fair. It's not so bright as the stars, the gold candles fixed in heaven's air. Let them say more that like of hearsay well. Let them say more that like of hearsay well. So again, I think it goes back to the other poems talking about how future readers or analysts would say that this poem is lying, potentially. I will not praise, that purpose not to sell. Let them say more that, hang on, okay. My love is as bright as any mother's child, though not so bright as those gold candles fixed in heaven's air. Let them say more that like of hearsay well. I will not praise, that purpose not to sell. So it's not my purpose to sell the... It is not my purpose to sell the praise of it. The praise itself is for the subject, not for anyone else. To say, yea or nay, this is true or not. It is only for the subject. It is only for love. Oh, so I do. So I think these are in a more love sort of one, where it's actually really just generally expressing love, adoration, whatever for whomever the subject is. So yeah, I think it's just basically speaking to some subject. And again, like in the last one, I'm not sure whether or not it's meant to be platonic or not. I feel like it's not, or like it is platonic, and it can be taken into different contexts depending on context. But yeah, so it's just basically love for a subject. I think. So yeah, so basically just praising, and saying that's all that this verse is. I think. I could be wrong. If you have specific questions, I could try to go for it. But again, it's basically just my interpretation. I'm sure there's other people who would say this, that, and the other thing, both potentially for or against my own. But I like just doing my own, so that's what we're gonna do. And then, yes, whenever you feel like you would like to chime in, you have been most helpful other times, so I would appreciate that as well. And welcome it. So, 22. So I think the theme right now is love for a specific subject. So we'll see. Number 22. My glass shall not persuade me I am old, so long as youth and thou are of one date. But when in thee time's furrows I behold, then look I death my days should expiate. For all that beauty that doth cover thee is but the seemly raiment of my heart, which in thy breast doth live as thine in me. How can I then be elder than thou art? O therefore, love, be of thyself so wary, as I not for myself, but for thee will, bearing thy heart, which I will keep so chary, as tender nurse her babe from faring ill. Presume not on thy heart, when mine is slain, thou gavest me thine not to give back again. So I'm going to have to look at cherry at some point. I'm sure it's like cherubim or love or some sort of that root in it. So the mirror shall not tell me when I am old, so long as youth and you are the same. As long as you are young, I will never be old. But when I see oldness, in you, thee times furrows I behold, then look I death, my days should expiate. And I just want to make sure. Expiate, it's basically. Then look I death. So once you, my love, start looking old, then I'll start seeing death coming around the corners. About. Ooh, atone for. Then look I death, my days should atone for. Oh, okay. So then he implies he's older than his love. Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh, yes, of course. Good call on that. For all that beauty that doth cover thee, so yes, you are beautiful, it is but the seemly raiment of my heart. Oh, and also that even though you grow, oh, so yes, and even if you grow old, I will never feel old. So it might even be just that I will never grow old or feel old because you will always be young because I love you. Potentially. For all that beauty that doth cover thee is but the seemly raiment of my heart, which in thy breast doth live as thine in me. How can I then be elder than thou art? Then that's, yeah, so how can I then be elder than thou art? Okay, yes. O therefore, love, be of thyself so wary, beware of yourself, as I not for myself, but for thee will, I'll be wary for you. Okay, O therefore, love, be of thyself so wary, as I not for myself, but for thee will. So I will not be wary for myself, but for you could go the other way too. Be not wary of yourself, but of me. Bearing thy heart, bearing your own heart, which I will keep so chary, as a tender nurse, I will hold your heart and keep it tenderly. Cautiously or suspiciously reluctant to do something. So cautiously and suspiciously. Raiment. Yes. Yep. So for all that beauty that doth cover thee is but the seemly raiment covering the clothing of my own heart. So because I love thee, I clothe thee in beauty. So that's where I guess I kind of come with the I will never be old because you will never be old because I love you, which gives you beauty, if that makes sense. Bearing thy heart, which I will keep so cautiously, tenderly, as tender nurse, her babe from faring ill. Presume not on thy heart when mine is slain. Oh, yes. So, presume not on your own heart when mine is slain, for you gave yours to me to never give back again. So, when mine is gone, so is yours because you gave it to me to never take back. Yeah. So, presume not. I do. I do think that the he's older than his love. Absolutely, because it is. It does get into that. Presume once I'm gone, your heart is gone as well. So it is that expectation that the author is going to be gone before the subject. Ah, I love that. Thank you for that. Because I was starting to think that it didn't seem to really have a overarching thing, but that is it. So excellent. So yeah, that was number 22. Do I think we did pretty good. All right, number 23. As an unperfect actor on the stage, who with his fear is put beside his part, or some fierce thing replete with too much rage, whose strength's abundance weakens his own heart. So I, for fear of trust, forget to say the perfect ceremony of love's right, and in mine own love's strength seem to decay, or charged with burthen mine own love's might. Oh, let my books be then the eloquence and dumb presagers, and dumb presagers of my speaking breast, who plead for love and look for recompense. More than that tongue that more hath more expressed. Oh, learn to read what silent love hath writ. To hear with eyes belongs to love's fine wit. And we'll just go ahead and look that word up immediately. I was thinking presages and then passages, and I just could not get the pronunciation. Presagers. Presagers? Presager. Presager. Presager and presager. Oh, presager. So like a person or thing seen as a sign or warning of a future event. So pre, before, and sage being wisdom and knowledge. Awesome. Okay. So, as an unperfect actor on the stage, I know what that's like, who with his fear is put beside his part. Unperfect, and so the fear makes you unable to play the part. Or some fierce thing replete with too much rage, whose strength's abundance weakens his own heart. Cowardly lion. Except kind of not. His strength's abundance weakens his own heart. Oh, so raging into like a heart attack, potentially? So I, for fear of trust, forget to say the perfect ceremony of love's right. So I fear, for fear of trust, so I don't yet have that trust in love, forget to say what could be the perfect words, perfect ceremony of love's right, potentially just the I love you, or just saying in general, and in mine own love's strength seem to decay, and so lose my own strength of love. I'm overcharged with the burden of mine own love's might, so weighed down by my own love. Oh, let my books be then the eloquence and dumb and unspeaking omens or prophets-ish of my speaking breast. So let my books, either in reading the books and then getting the words for it, or again in the sonnet, in what I write to you, the subject. Oh, let my books be then the eloquence and unspeaking speaker of what my heart speaks. Oh, sorry, chicken scared me. Who plead for love, those who plead for love and look for recompense, more than that tongue that more hath more expressed. Hang on. Who plead for love and look for recompense, who plead for love more than that tongue that more hath more expressed. Okay. There's a few too many mores. But those who plead for love more than the tongue pleads for it, more than that more than that more hath more expressed. I think the general idea is that pleading for love without saying it, just in actions or eyes, more hath more. Maybe. Well, let's just check, shall we? I guess I could check Trusty Dusty book too. More than. Ah. More than more. More than more. I'll check the trusty dusty book just in case. Ugh. But otherwise, I think just the general thing of it is that, again, those who plead. Is this where I'm at? Okay, so we're at 23. So, yes, more than that, so 12 for 23. More hath more express. More often has said more. Okay. Okay, those who plead for love and look for recompense. Okay, I'm just going to take out and look for recompense. Who plead for love more than that tongue that more often has said more. Okay. It also could be that tongues express more, tongues who plead for love express more than anything else. So basically, that's what most people express with tongue. I'm sorry, that came out wrong. But yeah, so basically, most thoughts expressed with the tongue is for love rather than anything else, potentially, maybe. Oh, learn to read what silent love. Yes, so through expression or action or reading the eyes, learn to read what silent, so not speaking, love hath written. To hear with eyes belongs to love's fine wit. So yeah, so seeing, recognizing those signs of love that are not verbally expressed. Yeah. So in the eye, in the expression, in the action. Yeah. I think so. So we'll carry on. 24. All right. Mine eye hath played the painter. Oh, okay, it is good. I was thinking maybe I was hoping that I didn't have my face over the poetry. Mine eye hath played the painter, and hath steeled thy beauty's form in table of my heart. My body is the frame wherein 'tis held, and perspective it is best painter's art. For through the painter must you see his skill, to find where your true image pictured lies, which in my bosom's shop is hanging still, that hath his windows glazed with thine eyes. Now see what good turns eyes for eyes have done, what good turns eyes for eyes have done. Mine eyes have drawn thy shape, and thine for me are windows to my breast, where through the sun delights to peep, to gaze therein on thee. Yet eyes his cunning want to grace their art, they draw but what they see, know not the heart. All right, so painters and art. My eye hath played the painter, and have steeled your beauty's form in the table of my heart. I have seen you, and I have locked that visual of your beauty away within me. My body is the frame wherein 'tis held, my skeleton where my heart is. That's where you are held. And perspective, it is best painter's art. So, and perspective, it is best painter's art. So it's the best kind of art from this perspective, because it is through love as well as internal, not necessarily visual. Now, oh yes, for through the painter must you see his skill. So you have to look again. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So through the painter, must you see the skill. So you must see through the love how well that person has been painted, if that makes sense. To find where your true image pictured lies. So you can only see yourself, your true self, through the eyes of someone who loves you. Which in your true image, which in my bosom's shop, my heart, is hanging still. That hath his windows glazed with thine eyes. That hath his windows, which are eyes, glazed with your eyes. Now see what good turns eyes for eyes have done. Mine eyes have drawn thy shape, and thine for me, and your eyes are windows to my breast, where through the sun delights to peep. So you are my sunshine, my only sunshine, delights to peep, to gaze therein on thee. Or just that the sun delights to peep in and gaze on the picture that I have created of my love in my heart. Yet eyes his cunning want to grace their art. Yet eyes his cunning want to grace their art. They draw but what they see, know not the heart. His cunning. So the general. Yet eyes his cunning want to grace their art. Yet eyes his cunning want to grace their art. They draw but what they see, know not the heart. So yeah, so somebody else wants to see the painting or create another painting or create another art, but they only draw what they see without knowing the heart. Kind of. May refer to my heart's workshop. Oh, I like that. That's beautiful. I like that. But yeah, just the last line kind of just throws me a bit. Oh, unless it is talking about the sun. Mine eyes have drawn thy shape, thine for me are windows to my breast, where through the sun delights to peep, to gaze therein on thee. Yet eyes his cunning want to grace their art, they draw but what they see, know not the heart. Unless it's talking about how your eyes for me are windows to my breast, where through the sun, so the subject has the sun delighting to peep at the love and the image of the subject's self, and they want to grace that art, but they still don't have that perspective of that love, if that makes sense. So basically, say that up, basically, even so, subject is painted beautifully, wonderfully, perfectly within the heart of the author who loves. And even if they could see that true image, they still wouldn't be able to fully comprehend it and, oh my gosh, what's the word? Comprehend it. Oh my gosh, I have fully brain farted. It's a spect. Appreciate it. Kind of. Appreciate it because they still don't have that, again, that perspective, those paints that can only be viewed with that perspective of love. Verbosity, but is it saying anything? I don't know. I think we got it. I think we got that one. That one's good. I like that one. That was beautiful. They're all quite beautiful. I like them. 25. Let those who are in favor with their stars of public honor and proud titles boast, whilst I, whom fortune of such triumph bars, unlooked for joy in that I honor most. Great princes' favorites their fair leaves spread, but as the marigold at the sun's eye, and in themselves their pride lies buried. For at a frown they in their glory die. The painful warrior famous for fight, after 1,000 victories once foiled, is from the book of honor raised quite, and all the rest forgot for which he toiled. Then happy I, that love and am beloved, where I may not remove nor be removed. Okay. Let those who are in favor with their stars, so lucky stars sort of thing, of public honor and proud titles, so those who are famed and gloried and hold high offices, boast of them, while I, whom fortune of such triumph bars, I have none of those. Unlooked for joy, I didn't look for this joy, in that I honor most, but yet I honor it the most, and cherish it the most. Great princes' favorites, their fair leaves spread. So the favorites of princes, their fair leaves spread. But as the marigold at the sun's eye, and in themselves their pride lies buried. Great princes' favorites, their fair leaves spread. Great princes' favorites there. Oh, so those favored by princes can spread their fair leaves, but as the marigold at the sun's eye, and in themselves, I think I need to keep going just a little bit. And in themselves, their pride lies buried. For at a frown, they in their glory die. Okay. The favorites of great princes spread their fair leaves, but just as the marigold at the sun's eye, and in themselves their pride lies buried. For once the so they bury their pride. Potentially. Where I was okay, so hang on for a second. The first thing that I was going for is that the favorites of princes can spread their fair leaves as long as they're favored, just as like with the marigold shines or whatever at the sun's eye. I'm gonna come back to that bit. But once the prince frowns upon them, their glory dies. So they are beholden to the great princes. And yes, so and they bury their pride because the princes can literally kill them. Yes, for their pride if they so wish. Yeah. But as the marigold at the sun's eye and in themselves, their pride lies buried. Yes, for at a frown they in their glory die. Yes, absolutely. Perfect. The painful warrior famous for fight, after 1,000 victories once foiled, is from the book of honor raised quite. So, painful warrior, he's famous for the fight, and after 1,000 victories, only one time that he fails, book of honor, boom, gone. And all the rest of it forgot for which he worked. Then happy I that love and am beloved, where I may not remove nor be removed. So in loving and in being loved, neither of those can be taken away. Yeah. So it is basically that sort of social standing and accomplishments can all be just gone like that. But loving and being loved will always be. Huh. Beautiful. Excellent. That was number 25 to number 26. All right. Oh, honor is fleeting, but love isn't. Yes, beautiful. Nice and concise. Much more so than I. Beautiful. Yeah, I love that. 26. Lord of my love, to whom in vassalage thy merit hath my duty strongly knit. To thee I send this written embassage. Oh, vassalage, maybe. Sorry, I'm going to start over. Lord of my love, to whom in vassalage thy merit hath my duty strongly knit. To thee I send this written embassage, to witness duty, not to show my wit. Duty so great, which wit so poor as mine may make seem bare, in wanting words to show it. But that I hope some good conceit of thine in thy soul's thought, all naked will bestow it. Till whatsoever star that guides my moving, points on me graciously with fair aspect, and puts apparel on my tattered loving, to show me worthy of thy sweet respect. Then may I dare to boast how I do love thee, till then not show my head where thou mayst prove me. Okay. Lord of my love, to whom in vassalage to thy merit hath my duty strongly knit. So, you are the Lord of my love, to whom in becoming a vassal, you are meritorious, or you are worth that duty that I have with which I have strongly knit myself to you, connected myself to you. I am in your duty, and you have earned it. To thee I send this written embassage, to witness duty, not to show my wit. So I'm sending this to you to demonstrate that duty that I'm saying it all wrong. I am sending this to you to express that to you, that I am I can't think of a different word than duty, but in your duty, not to show how well I can write. Duty so great, which wit so poor as mine may make seem bare, in wanting words to show it. So I feel it greatly. I feel this, what's a word? Lord of my love, the subject of his love, or perhaps a personification of love. Eros. Ooh. I like that. Lord of my love, to whom in vassalage thy merit hath my duty. Ooh, I do like that. So then it's the merit of that personification that has knit me to my love. Ooh, I like that. I like that too. Excellent. All right, and then to thee I send this written embassage to witness duty, not show my wit. Duty so great, and connection, and I cannot think of what. There's a different word for duty that I'm trying to think of, but until then, I'll keep using that one. Which wit so poor as mine, so even though I can't write it very well, I can't say it very well, which may make that duty that I'm trying to express seem less than it is, because of my wanting words. But that I hope some good conceit of thine, in thy soul's thought, all naked will bestow it. So I hope that in your own thought and mind, and thy soul's thought all naked will bestow it, that you will put upon those words the meaning that it's meant to express. Till whatsoever star that guides my moving points on me graciously with fair aspect, and puts apparel on my tattered loving to show me worthy of thy sweet respect. Till whatsoever star, so my star is what guides me, shines on me and clothes my tattered loving so that it appears what it's worth of thy, and that I am worthy of your, my love's, reciprocation. That makes sense. Ooh. Oh. There's a French chanson, sorry, where they use a similar metaphor. I will not try to do the accent. I will embarrass myself. As long as I live in the age of flourishing, I will serve the powerful God of love. Ooh, okay. I'm going to finish up the last thing, and then I'm going to go back with that. So then may I dare to boast how I do love thee. So once, so again, the Lord of my love and whatsoever star guides my moving could again be that personification. Finally, its merit knit me in my duty in love. And so hopefully that star that has guided that, hopefully eventually shines on me graciously and actually makes me appear worthy of that reciprocated love. And at that point, then I will boast of how I love you, and until then, not show my head where thou mayst prove me. Oh, that one's actually kind of sad. Because until then, until I can appear worthy, until, which is also actually interesting with that personification, that it's, again, in love's time, not just in the concept itself of love, but that, again, that personification, that star that guides it, that needs to be what brings it together, makes it work, makes me appear worthy of your love. And until then, I will wait. I will wait until that time. I will wait on love. Which makes it it makes it less sad. It's kind of nice, actually. It's kind of sweet. So yes, I like that. Thank you. All right. I think we got that one too. I think we're doing really well. I like them. I like them a lot. Number 27. I'm just going to quick see if I have to go all the way up to the top for this one. Oh my gosh, there. Nope. Okay. We'll just be right there. 27. Weary with toil, I haste me to my bed, the dear repose for limbs with travel tired. But then begins a journey in my head to work my mind when body's works expired. For then my thoughts, from far where I abide, intend a zealous pilgrimage to thee, and keep my drooping eyelids open wide, looking on darkness which the blind do see. Save that my soul's imaginary sight presents thy shadow to my sightless view, which like a jewel hung in ghastly night, makes black night beauteous and her old face new. Lo, thus by day my limbs, by night my mind, for thee and for myself no quiet find. Oh. So, I am weary with toil, of course. Oh, yeah, according to the internet, the first part of the poem is indeed in trust to Cupid or Eros. Okay, sounds good. Well, and again, and that's a thing where if there are... I don't know. I do. I respect. I absolutely do respect historical analysis, uh, but I have had experience where historical analysis has been um, corrupted by bias, I guess. So I do. I like to take those aspects, but also um, use my own interpretations for the exercise itself, but also so that I'm not just taking other people's um, interpretations, if that makes sense. Unless there is, I don't know if I already said this, like um, where he actually wrote that. It was from Cupid or if that makes sense. Like I do, I can absolutely believe that, and I like it, and I think it goes with the rest of the poem. But I'm a little wary of just fully taking uh, interpretation from other people. So yeah, so it's kind of I don't know if it's a little bit of a I don't know. It's just yeah, it's a thing for me. Just in having done like analysis and gone through like schooling with analysis, but then not quite. I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things. Okay, so to put it easily, and then I'll be done with it. Like where it's like, oh, the curtains are blue because he's sad. No, the curtains are blue just because they're blue. So yeah, so it's things like that where I do try and do my own interpretation and not, yeah, again, like rely on outside sources just in case they are um, compromised in some way, if that makes sense. Anyway, I'll continue. Sorry, you got me on one of my ranting topics. All right, so continuing with 27 analysis. Um, yes, I do. I like the Cupid Eros one for that one. So, weary with toil, I am tired. I go quickly to bed. The dear repose I should be able to with my limbs with travel tired. So my limbs are tired with much traveling, and my bed should be good for that. But then begins a journey in my head to work my mind when body's works expired. When I'm done working physically, now my mind is working. For then my thoughts from far where I abide, interesting. So my thoughts on something far away, intend a zealous pilgrimage to thee, and keep my drooping eyelids open wide, so I can't sleep because I'm thinking of you, looking on darkness, which the blind do see. Oh, interesting, I like that. Looking on darkness, which the blind do see, save, save, that my soul's imaginary sight presents thy shadow, my love's shadow, to my sightless view, which like a jewel hung in ghastly night. So the image of my love is as a jewel hung in that blackness, in that night, which I am trying to fall asleep from. Makes black night beauteous, and her old face new. So black night is like, yeah, that's, yep. Lo, lo, thus by day my limbs, by day my limbs tire, by night my mind tires. For thee, and for myself, wait, lo, thus by day my limbs, by night my mind, for thee and for myself, no quiet find. No quiet is found for myself or for thee, because I'm always thinking of you, my love. I see. It's about dreams. Yes, yes, because I am tired with the day and I should be going to bed, but my eyes are open wide because I am thinking of you, and then I cannot sleep because, yeah, just enjoying, yeah, enjoying my love and the image of my love. But it could be one of the. I feel like we might have talked about this before, like dreaming without dreaming, but I can't remember specifically what it was. But yeah, so that dream within a dream. Yeah, yeah. It's just kind of, and one of the things I like to do is I like to think of like what seed brought this poem about. So it's just thinking about it in your own life. If you're tired from the day and you lay down and you start thinking of someone you love and you can't sleep, and then he wrote a poem about it, something to that extent. Yeah, maybe. I can't remember. And I guess it's like a really vast, vague subject, so I don't know. But yeah, so it is. It's like it's something where it's a very common, I guess, thing, and it could be somewhat aggravating to a degree. Like you're tired, and you want to go to bed, but you know what? You keep thinking, and it doesn't even have to be about love. But I mean, it's better if it is, right? Um, so then yeah, it makes it beautiful, like with the jewel, and yeah, I don't know. It sugars it sugars the donut of mundanity. If that makes sense. Although donuts are good on their own, but you know, or frosts the cupcake of mundanity. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's what. Oops. Oh no, that's what poetry is meant to do. At least some of it. So yes, that was number 27. Oh, and I do need to. Oh no, we're good. We're good. Yes. Number 28. How can I then return in happy plight, that am debarred the benefit of rest, when day's oppression is not eased by night, but day by night, and night by day oppressed, and each, though enemies to either's reign, do in consent shake hands to torture me, the one by toil, the other to complain how far I toil, still farther off from thee. I tell the day, to please him, thou art bright, and dost him grace, when clouds do blot the heaven. So flatter I the swart complexioned night, when sparkling stars twire not, thou gildest the even. But day doth daily draw my sorrows longer, and night doth nightly make grief's length seem stronger. So this is another one of those. Similar to the other one, how can I then return in happy plight that am debarred the benefit of rest? How can I return happily when I cannot rest? When day's oppression is not eased by night, when I cannot get rest from the oppression of day, and but day by night and night by day oppressed. So both of them oppress each other because I can't get sleep or rest from either. And each, though enemies to either's reign, do in consent. So each of them are in conflict except for the the thing. They shake hands and agree on torturing me. The one, so day, is by physical toil. The other, night, ooh, so nighttime, it complains about how far I toil far from thee. Oh, how it complains about how much I work, and still, so how far I toil, how far I work, plus how much farther off that is, even from thee, my love. I tell the day, to please him, thou art bright, and dost him grace. So I flatter him when clouds do blot the heaven. So, and so flatter I the swart complexioned night, the dark complexioned night, when sparkling stars, when they twinkle, I would assume, not, thou gildest the even. So I try to make amends and peace with them, but day doth daily draw my sorrows longer, and night doth nightly make grief's length seem stronger. So by day my sorrows grow longer because I am both physically drained, and also sad because my love is not with me. And then nightly, grief's length is also stronger. Same. So I can get no rest from love. 29. And yeah, it is. It's interesting. And I don't want to, and maybe he did write these all in order and they're all in perfect order, but it does. They follow like a thread. And it's very interesting, and I really enjoy that. So 29. When in disgrace with fortune and men's eyes, I all alone beweep my outcast state, and trouble deaf heaven with my bootless cries, and look upon myself and curse my fate, wishing me like to one more rich in hope, featured like him with friends possessed, desiring this man's art and that man's scope, with what I most enjoy contented least. Yet in these thoughts myself almost despising, haply I think on thee, and then my state, like to the lark at break of day arising from sullen earth, sings hymns at heaven's gate. For thy sweet love remembered such wealth brings, that then I scorn to change my state with kings. Okay. When in disgrace with fortune and men's eyes, when I am disgraced both in fortune, I am fortuneless and disgraced in the eyes of others, I'm all alone, beweep my outcast state. I weep for my outcast state. That's pretty, yeah. And I trouble the deaf heaven with my bootless cries. I cry out to heaven, which is deaf, because they're not going to do anything. Heaven's not going to do anything for me. And I look upon myself, and I curse that fate, which makes me outcast, wishing me like to one more rich in hope. I wish to be one more rich in hope. Featured like him with friends. I would like to have his features. I would like to have friends as he does, this person that I'm wishing to be. Desiring this man's art and that man's scope, with what I most enjoy, contented least. With what I most enjoy, contented least. Featured like him, with friends possessed, desiring this man's art and that man's scope. Oh, and it could be like this man's art, that man's scope. I'm wishing for these different things. Wishing me fate with what I most enjoy, contented least. Oh, so I am with what I most enjoy, I am least contented because I do not have those things which I enjoy most. Yet, in these thoughts, myself almost despising, I almost despise myself, happily, or happily, like happenstance, or I all of a sudden, I think on thee, my love. And then my state, so like the lark at breaking of day arising from sullen earth, the singing of the lark at dawn, my state also sings hymns at heaven's gate. For your sweet love remembered brings such wealth that I would never change my place, even with kings. Boom. I think that one's pretty, yeah. Basically, when everything is horrible and I'm hating myself and my life and wishing for the things that other people have, as long as I have you, my love, that's all I need. I would never change my place for any reason with anyone. All right. Yes. So number 30. All right. Ooh. Water break. Oh. Whoops. Okay. Number 30. There. All right. When to the sessions of sweet silent thought I summon up remembrance of things past, I sigh the lack of many a thing I sought, and with old woes new wail my dear time's waste. Then can I drown an eye, unused to flow, for precious friends hid in death's dateless night, and weep afresh love's long since cancelled woe, and moan the expense of many a vanished sight. Then can I grieve at grievances foregone, and heavily from woe to woe tell o'er the sad account of fore bemoaned moan, which I knew pay, as if not paid before. But if the while I think on thee, dear friend, all losses are restored, and sorrows end. So again, same or similar to the last one. So when to the sessions of sweet silent thought, so when I'm thinking of things, I summon up remembrance of things past. When I'm thinking of the past, I sigh the lack of many a thing I sought, many things that I tried for and never got. Ooh, and that rhymed. And with old woes, new wail my dear time's waste. Yeah, so that remembering things in the past, that you wail once again, you regret once again, wasting your dear time. Then can I drown an eye? I cry, unused to flow, not used to crying, for precious friends, hidden in death's dateless night, so friends that have been lost to death, and weep afresh love's long since cancelled woe. So again, love's losing love. Oh, so weep afresh love's long cancelled woe. Yep. And moan the expense of many a vanished sight, those things that I once saw that I've now lost, or just memories of where I've been, and again, that longing. Then can I grieve at grievances foregone, and heavily from woe to woe tell o'er the sad account of fore bemoaned moan. So going over and over the things of the past, the regrets, the losses, the things you once had, once saw, but haven't since had or seen again, um, which I knew pay as if I hadn't already paid them. I do it again. But if the while I think on thee, my dear friend, if I think on you, all of my losses are restored, and sorrows end. And that is so sweet. It is. It's very sad. It goes very sad, then it's very sweet. And that one's almost. That's why if this is a sort of a theme, that one seems to be like I weep afresh love's long since canceled woe. So that seems like love is out of the picture. Like that sort of a love is out of the picture. But you, my dear friend, are the one who restores my losses and my sorrows. That, like the rest of those, it's like a platonic love, a friendship love, that deep, abiding, just like, yeah, connection, if that makes sense. So yeah, yeah. Anyway, if that makes sense, then I already said that. I'm sorry. That was 30. Sad to sweet and lovely. So, 31. Bada boom. Thy bosom is endeared with all hearts, which I by lacking have supposed dead. And there reigns love and all love's loving parts, and all those friends which I thought buried. How many a holy and obsequious tear hath dear religious love stolen from mine eye, as interest of the dead, which now appear but things removed, that hidden in thee lie. Thou art the grave where buried love doth live, hung with the trophies of my lovers gone, who all their parts of me to thee did give, that due of many now is thine alone. Their images I loved I view in thee, and thou, all they, hast all the all of me. And I do think this one is again similar. So my friend, my bosom friend, my love, thy bosom is endeared with all the hearts which I by lacking have supposed dead. And it could, and this one it could go either way. But in you, I have now found all of the hearts that I have had or loved before. I thought long dead, either just lost or actually dead. And in you, in your bosom, there reigns love and all love's loving parts, and all those friends which I thought buried. How many a holy and obsequious tear hath dear religious love stolen from mine eye? So, how many times have I cried through religious love? I don't think that means like actually religious. Or probably religious in the sense of dedicated, devoted, hath dear devoted love stolen from mine eye, as interest of the dead, which now appear, but things removed. So I would think that means like actually dead. Love's actually dead, which now appear only as things removed, and now hidden within you. You are the grave where that love that I have buried before still lives, hung with the trophies of my lovers gone, who all their parts of me to thee did give, that due of many now is thine alone. Their images I loved, all of their images that I loved, I view in you, and you, all of them, have all of me. So, it could maybe potentially not be actually dead. It could just be that sort of culmination of I have loved and loved before, but you are the one where I've found everything that I've ever loved. You are the only one. You are everything. And now, last line, and thou, all they, hast all the all of me. So all of them are in you, and now you have all of me. Ha, I think. Yeah. And that's beautiful. And I love that. It's very sweet. 32. If thou survive my well-contented day, when that churl death my bones with dust shall cover, and shalt by fortune once more resurvey these poor rude lines of thy deceased lover, compare them with the bettering of the time, and though they be outstripped by every pen, reserve them for my love, not for their rhyme, exceeded by the height of happier men. O then vouchsafe me but this loving thought. Had my friend's muse grown with his growing age, a dearer birth than this his love had brought, to march in ranks of better equipage, but since he died, and poets better prove, theirs for their style I'll read, his for his love. Okay, if thou survive my well-contented day, if you survive my well-contented day, when that churl death my bones with dust shall cover. Okay, so well-contented day being my life. If you outlive me, when that churl death, when death covers my bones with dust, and shalt by fortune once more resurvey these poor rude lines of thy deceased lover. Oh, and so if you survive me, and shall by fortune once more read these lines that I write to you of your deceased lover, which is the author, compare them with the bettering of the time. And though they be outstripped by every pen, reserve them for my love, not for their rhyme. So you can go ahead and compare them with the better writing of the time. Though these lines be outstripped by every other pen, reserve them still, these lines, for my love, not necessarily for how technically good they are. Exceeded by the height of happier men. Reserve them for my love, not for their rhyme. Exceeded by the height. Reserve them for my love, not for their rhyme. Their rhyme is exceeded by the height of happier men. Oh, then vouchsafe me but this loving thought. So think this of me. Had my friend's muse grown with his growing age, a dearer birth than this his love had brought, to march in ranks. Okay, so again, friend could be friend, or friend could be more. I'll take it as friend for now. Had my friend's muse, so had I, speaking as the subject, grown with the author's growing age, a dearer birth than this his love had brought, to march in ranks of better equipage. But since he died, and poets better prove, theirs for their style I read, his for his love. Yes. So, thinking if so the author is telling the subject that even if you outlive me, hopefully you will reread these lines and read them for my love, and not for how good they are, because they will be overcome. Yeah, others will write better. So think this alone. So then, yeah, so like the last ones are the author wanting the subject to think this. So had the author grown longer, no, had my friend's muse grown with his growing age. Yeah, so had his growing age. I had a thing, but that kind of seems like it doesn't quite. Yeah, so what I'm thinking it is he would have written better eventually if it would have kept going. If he would have kept going, if he would have written more. But since he died, there's going to be more poets that are better, and I'll read them for their style, but I will read his for his love, if that makes sense. So yeah, so basically, see not the style of how I write, but the love with which it is written. Yeah. Number 33. I have also... Sorry, I got super excited, clearly. I learned this one as well. So this one is going to be fun for me. Again. And I we might be ending on this one then. That way it's like, sorry, it's bringing back memories. Um, so I will try to make it. I will hopefully have it memorized enough where I won't have to stop. I'll just keep going with it. So okay, sorry, I'm super excited again now. Okay, so this might be the last one. We'll see how long it takes to get through it. Very excited. Okay. Number 33. Full many a glorious morning have I seen flatter the mountain tops with sovereign eye, kissing with golden face the meadows green, gilding pale streams with heavenly alchemy. And not anon permit the basest clouds to ride with ugly rack on his celestial face, and from the forlorn world his visage hide, stealing unseen to west with this disgrace. Even so my sun one early morn did shine, with all triumphant splendor on my brow. But out, alack, he was but 1 hour mine, the region cloud hath masked him from me now. Yet him for this my love no whit disdaineth. Suns of the world may stain, when heaven's sun staineth. Sorry, that was fun. It seemed different than I remember it, but that's okay. Oh, that was fun. Okay. So I did. I had a YouTube thing for a little bit where I was doing recitations in a certain way, and it was a lot of fun. And I want to start doing it again at some point, but I don't have the time at the moment. But we'll see. Anyway, full many a glorious morning have I seen flatter the mountaintops with sovereign eye. So I've seen many glorious mornings make the mountaintops beautiful, flatter the mountaintops with their kingly reigneth eye, kissing with golden face, kissing with the sun's golden face, the green meadows, and making gold the pale streams with heavenly alchemy of making gold. I do. I love that line. Gilding pale streams with heavenly alchemy. Oh, excellent. Oops. Oh, gosh. Anon, permit the basest clouds to, oh, and yet permit the basest clouds to ride with ugly rack on his celestial face. Permits clouds to ride with ugly rack on his celestial face. So clouds being ugly and shadowing that heavenly, godly, celestial face. Uh, and from the forlorn world his visage hide, hidden behind the clouds, stealing unseen to west with this. Oh wait, hang on. I need to make sure that Anon is. I'll check Trusty Dusty Book. Okay, so 33, because I think it's like at some point, ever and anon. So at some point, yeah, I think that's what it is. Anon, at some point, he permits base clouds, horrible clouds, to ride upon his celestial face and hide his face, and then continues going down, steals unseen behind the clouds with this disgrace. Even so, my sun, one early morn did shine with, oh no, sad. Okay, so even so, my sun, my love, one early morn did shine upon me with all triumphant splendor on my brow. But out, alack, he was but 1 hour mine, and now he is gone. The region cloud, there's an extra L in there, hath masked him from me now. He's gone. Or just is not necessarily dead, but just gone, region. Yet him for this, my love no whit disdaineth. So does not, even because of this, despite this, I do not disdain this of my love. Sons of the world, sons, loves of the world may stain. Oh, if heaven's sun can stain the forlorn world by hiding its face, why would not the other sons, the loves of the world, also stain the brows and the forlorn worlds of those who love? If that makes sense. Oh, that was fun. And I don't think that I really got into the actual analysis of that back when I did it. So it was fun to get that and come back to it and remember it. And yeah. So I think I guess I don't know if it is. It could be taken as love, or it could be taken as friendship love, like deep, really abiding love. Um, and it is. I think that is like the theme so far right now, as well as, and it's also interesting to have that contrast from like the beauty of it, um, and the happiness of it, as well as that longing, that loss of it, that contrast, as well as not, again, like not, no, it disdaineth. I don't disdain it. It just, it is. And again, going back to like waiting on Eros' time, or Cupid's time, or love's time, waiting on love's time. So not getting bent out of shape about it, but um, enjoying it for what it was, remembering it for what it was, hopefully to get it again, have it again. But it is, it's life, and it is love. So, yes. That seems so short, though. But I think it's nice. I think that was, yeah, I think that was a nice one to end on, I think. So, I will call that one done. And yeah. So I'll get this. Oops, not that one. Oops. Da da da. So yes, that was fun, and I have it. I haven't. I do. I need fiction in my life. I need poetry in my life. And it has. It's been a lot of just technical stuff and practical stuff. And this is really nice to be able to get back into this. Um and I really appreciate you being here and giving me all the little tidbits. And yeah, it's awesome. It does. It really um, gives me that other perspective, and I appreciate it. So yes, thanks. Whoever got lost and found their way here, found their way back. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did, and I hope to see you again soon. I keep thinking that at some point I'm going to be able to have a better schedule, but we'll see. Yeah, it will sometime next week. It'll probably be yes, it will be flying again next, and then yeah, I'll just keep alternating until I can get a proper like 2-day schedule in place. And at some point, I want to get back to Buster Keaton to have a full 3-day schedule, or I'll just alternate between some of those, whatever. So yeah, so sometime next week. I wanted to start getting back into Sundays. We'll see how that works. Tuesdays were my day, and that kind of hasn't been working either. Maybe just Thursdays. I don't know. We'll see. It's kind of up in the air. Haha, playing jokes. So, yes. So, anyway, thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. And yeah. Hope to see you again soon. Have a great whatever it's going to be for you. Thank you, and bye.